Everyone go ahead and sit down and let's give a huge, warm Filipino welcome to our hosts for the week, Dave Overton and Albert Payton.
Good morning!
Good morning.
Let's try the other one. How about Geek Morning?
Geek morning.
That's so cheese balls, man. All right. Geek Morning, everybody.
Geek morning.
How are you all feeling today? Who here came yesterday? Man, that was crazy. The weather was crazy, right? I am so glad the sun came out this morning.
Yeah, let's knock on wood, though. Hopefully it'll stay out, right, guys?
Done.
Well, we're ready to kick this thing off. So, without further ado, we want to introduce you to the woman, the powerful influence, the amp behind Geeks on a Beach.
All the way from Labangon.
Via Bohol,
Tina.
the amp, Amper!
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
This is the chief geek of Geeks on the Beach.
Hi.
Albert, the chief startup guy. Thank you so much, guys, for coming here in spite of the hurricane, the rocky plane rides, the Baha, Habagat, and everything. You're here. Thank you so much for being here today. 3 years ago, when I decided to return to the Philippines, I was doing research on how I could come back and what I would do here. So I formed TechTalks.ph. And thanks to a lot of you here, Jojo Flores and everybody, Smart, UST, SIMF, PR Works, Geeks on a Beach is happening today. Very challenging experience. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I'm proud of the Filipinos. I'm proud of the Pinoy talent. I want us to get the best, to be the best that we can be. I've traveled around the world in my previous life, and I've seen very many successful Filipinos all over the world. And when I came back, I moved back to the Philippines last September. I was determined more than ever to increase the number of talented folks, talented Filipinos in the tech and startup industry. And I also wanted to send a message to the gazillion Filipinos who are overseas, the overseas foreign workers. A lot of us, when we're here in the Philippines, our dream is to go to the US or go to other countries so we can earn dollars and make lots of money. That's great. I did that. It's awesome. There's also part of the Filipinos abroad who want to come back. And my message to you guys is come back now, right? The Philippines is growing. It's dynamic, and there's a lot of opportunities here. Come back, get to know the Filipino community, see how we've developed since you left. And I have 1 more minute. I just want to thank everybody again for being here. DOST for supporting us, Smart DevNet, Idea Space, all the sponsors, all the speakers who came out of their own time and paid for their own way to come to Boracay. I'm sorry I had to make you work here in Boracay. So you better have fun and enjoy the best of what the Philippines has to offer. Best beaches, our hospitality, our tech talent. There's lots of opportunities here in the Philippines. And for those startups out there, we have invested our blood, sweat, and tears to create all these startup weekends, these meetups, these Geeks on the Beach. The challenge is to you guys now, the ones who want to do startups and all the other kids out there who want to do startups. Who wants to be the next Instagram? Can we do it in the Philippines? Can we do it in the Philippines? All right, let's rock it. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you so much, Tina. Now I'd like to introduce my co-host to give us a Geeks on the Beach overview, along with Mark Deutsch. Is Mark Deutsch here? Mark Deutsch is nice, so you're alone, buddy.
Me.
So let me introduce him to you. I'm going to read his bio in the most fancy way. So this is Dave Overton. He's an entrepreneur, idea generator, a startup builder, IT and business integration architect. This is like a Twitter bio. IT consultant with broad experience in management, system integration, and project development and implementation.
Wow.
He co-founded a nonprofit organization that is licensed both in the United States and the Philippines and has helped thousands of women and delivered over 3,000 healthy babies in Cebu. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host again, Dave Overton.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm excited to be here. I'm actually this guy. No, I'm joking. But I figured, we have to be prepared if that typhoon picks up again later. I will be safe. If you'd like to get your own, there's still a beach ball available up on stage. I'm excited to be here. I believe in working hard and playing hard, and that's why we picked Geeks on a Beach to be in Boracay. I've founded a couple of different startups, and now the nonprofit work is really what my wife does. She's a midwife. She'll be here later. But I love the Philippines, and I love empowering technology and startups here. So I'm excited for Geeks on a Beach, and we have a great lineup of speakers, panels, and everything. And this is for you guys. And just one final note, I will say that in our press con just a little while ago, something came out that if you have coffee or lunch with Tina Amper, you will probably end up doing something like Geeks on a Beach. So, if you guys are out there and you need someone to get something done for you, just set up coffee with Tina. Or even lunch, maybe even dinner. But I warn you now, before you know it, you'll be planning a conference called Geeks on a Beach. All right, let's go.
All right, let's open this thing. We haven't opened yet?
No.
No, let's kick this open with our opening keynote addresses.
That's right.
All right, so for our first, we'd like to call on the founder and former president of SMART before it was acquired by the First Pacific Group. He was named the Chief Wireless Advisor to support SMART President Paulie Nazareno and give the latter more time to manage the comprehensive changes taking place in PLDT's fixed line business. Without further ado, let's call in the Chief Wireless Advisor and founder of SMART, Mr. Bowei Gai.
Thank you, Dave and Albert. On behalf of your co-presenters, SMART and Idea Space, welcome to Geeks on a Beach. I understand there's also an event called Geeks on a Plane. Well, they have the plane, we have the island. Thank you, Tina, for allowing us to be proud partners in this event. The weather actually has finally cleared. The sun is out, and it's hard to resist the metaphor. Yes, indeed. It's a beautiful day for the future of startups in the Philippines. When digital leaders from all over the country and all over the world actually converge in an island, in an ascendant nation, it's the Philippines, which is at the center of the digital explosion, many things can happen. Many good things can happen. And when things happen in Boracay, they don't have to stay in Boracay. Let's make this party one big selfie for the world to see and like. In the past 2 years, we've seen in the Philippines a spike of energy in the developer and startup communities. People say that it is arguably the best time in many, many years to be a startup. We are now witness to a lot of dynamism in many parts of the world, particularly in the Asian region, and this is powering the development of tech innovation. This includes the Philippines, which has been named to the exclusive club of breakout nations, registering 7% growth rate in the last quarters. Focusing on the Philippines, we've seen massive improvements in the startup ecosystem in the last 24 months. We are seeing more activity among incubators, accelerators, angels, super angels, and VCs than ever before. There's a startup conference or even a developer event or a hackathon almost every weekend. Companies based in San Francisco like Indenero, now have a Makati office. Angel Hack is thinking of having a Philippine office. Bowei here. Where's Bowei? There. Bowei of World Startup Report is going to end his 9-month tour, global tour, here at this very conference. Welcome, Bowei. What is it about the Philippines and why should you be all here? Is the Philippines as a global technology hub an idea whose time has come? Given the encouraging economic and technology climate, the abundance of innovative minds, and an ideal testbed of a domestic market, the challenge we face is this: how can we take advantage of this window of opportunity, as Tina earlier said, to create and foster the growth of more world-class tech companies in the Philippines? To create this perfect storm, the different players in the emerging ecosystem will have to play their part in the innovation process. During a recent gathering of the Silicon Valley innovation units of the top telecoms around the world, which I think Earl attended, it was clear that a lot of innovation has indeed shifted to tech startups. That is you. That is us, Geeks. We can smell opportunity in the air. The question is this: how do we seize and monetize it in a big way? I see a lot of familiar faces in the room. No? There's Mon Ibrahim, Paco Sandejas. I don't know if Ray Banataw is here. Is Ray here? Not yet. Jojo Flores, Jay Fajardo, Paul Santos, Chao Paredes, Joji Azurin, Joey Gurango, Jack Madrid, Earl Valencia, Paul Pajo, and many others. I apologize if I missed your names, the others. I can therefore, with great conviction, say that we are not lacking in talents. Allow me now to say a bit about myself. To summarize, I am one of you. In my own way, I've come full circle in the startup life cycle. I've been an originator, a builder, a disruptor, an incumbent, a seller, a buyer, an incubator, a mentor, an angel, a creditor, and now a reinventor. My own favorite startup story, of course, has to be Smart. But that is a long story, and is in fact a story that is still being written. It is an enterprise that started from foolish dreams, just like what we all have now, and quickly changed the whole landscape when there were practically no pitches, hackathons, incubators, or accelerators to speak of. You guys have Boracay, Mactan, Makati, or Tigas to network with your funders. In our time, we had UP Dilimol, we had Katipunan McDonald's, all these places to make our little pitches. We were, of course, lucky to eventually get partners who fiercely shared our vision. And that's Mr. Pangilinan and his First Pacific Group and NTT Docomo. On hindsight, and in current speak, we were a lean startup with minimum viable products, or MVPs, that fortunately hit the sweet spot. And more importantly, hit the sweet spot in the hearts of our customers. Today, 20 years later, we at Smart continue to dream, iterate, pivot, reinvent, and transform. Every day, like the established players here, every day we are confronted by the innovator's dilemma. And the only way to win is, guess what? By acting like a startup. This time, we want to put the power of the internet into everyone's hands. Our mission, internet for all. Again, in an economy with an uneven distribution of purchasing power, it sounds as outlandish as our original vision 20 years ago of putting a phone in every Filipino's hands. But we will make it. We'll make it happen, this time in a very different digital world. Sooner than we ourselves can imagine, we will enable the Boracay tricycle driver and the vendor on the beach to watch OTT videos, some produced by us, on their smartphones over our 200 megabit LTE network. And we better do so. Otherwise, a still unknown upstart, and that can be one of you, might just beat us to it. That is what it's all about. Whether one is reinventing a big enterprise like Smart or starting a new venture, it's all about finding the intersections and hitting the sweet spots. Most of the time, abundance, not scarcity, but abundance is the issue, especially in this digital age, where the whole world is your proverbial startup garage. We just need to open our minds, wisely navigate, bravely make choices, effectively execute, and change when we need to change. Welcome once again, live more, and I hope you all have fun on the island. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you. That was a great, inspiring message, and maybe even a challenge if you want to interrupt Smart or Globe in their dominance of the telco industry here in the Philippines. I want to introduce our next panelist to you, and actually, it's a bit interesting. We have the Undersecretary Luis Napoleon Casambre, who is the Executive Director of DOST and ICTO. He's written a message on startups and their role in the growing economy here in the Philippines. And this message will be shared by none other than Mon Ibrahim, who is also from ICTO DOST. And he was recently awarded the ICT Contributor of the Year Award at the International ICT Awards. Mr. Ibrahim was cited for his work in government, primarily in the implementation of the Philippine Cyber Corridor Initiative, which aims to make the Philippines in the global community for IT BPO services. He was also instrumental in sustaining the development of the Philippine cyber services industry, helping the country reach its current status of being second in the global market. Is that correct? Or did we pass India now? We're still second, okay. We're passing them soon, I believe. He also led marketing initiatives in promoting the Philippine IT BPO brand worldwide, resulting in the country being awarded the Outstanding Destination of the Year in 2007 as well as 2009. Without further ado, Mr. Mon Ibrahim.
Where's, I saw Joey last night, although he was a bit groggy now with all this drink. Yeah. Joey Garango is here? Still groggy, okay. Good morning, Geeks. Geeks, are you ready for Boracay? Great, okay, let's get all this serious stuff done with. So, Undersecretary Louis Casambre is not able to join us here today because we're supposed to be in Congress today defending our budget for 2014, okay? I'm not even supposed to be here, but don't worry, I look much better than him. So what I'm going to do is actually read to you his special message for this. Hey, Tina, we have a crowd here, okay? I think that you're not going to lose your shirt organizing this event. Okay. And so let me read his special message for all the geeks here today. And I quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed colleagues in government and the private sector, industry partners, honored speakers, guests, a good and blessed morning to all of you. May I first commend the people behind this breakthrough event who have taken upon themselves to bring together the unlikely pairing of nature, fun, and technology, geeks, and the beautiful beaches of Boracay. I congratulate Ms. Tina Ampere, her team, and all the supporting companies that helped make this possible. The Department of Science and Technology is the agency in the forefront of supporting and promoting Filipino innovation. As we enter the digital age, we welcome a new breed of technology innovators that harbor in them not only the technical skills, but also entrepreneurial skills that will uplift the country and its economy. The budding local startup community has been a catalyst in creating efficient solutions as well as inspiring change in the country. We see the impact that startups like Facebook and Google have in our everyday life. This movement is now admirably being led by the youth who are more adept to current technological trends and have the drive to create positive changes in society. Startups are a new breed of geeks, a new breed of entrepreneurs that combine technology and business applied to relevant and pressing issues in society today. We at the DOST Information and Communications Technology Office strive to drive advocacy and promote the spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship in ICT as we serve as the government partner in building and harmonizing a healthy ecosystem for tech startups to be developed and be cultivated. In the past years, we have been fervently driving the growth of the information technology business process management sector, which today has resulted to 800 plus employment opportunities for Filipinos. And from this figure, about 225,000 are based in the countryside. Moving forward, it is our vision not only to continue providing employment to the countryside, but also to inspire young Filipinos to become ITpreneurs. This initiative would not have been powered up and moving forward strongly if not for public and private partners who share our goals in this endeavor. From the DOST, we have very strong support from the Technology Application and Promotions Institute, that's TAPI, the Technology Resource Center, that's TRC, and by the way, we have a new guy, much better guy, managing this center now, and the Philippine Council for Industry and Energy Research and Development, or PSERD. These offices are fully committed to serving their mandate in growing technology businesses through incubation and venture capital funding. We in the ICT office have so far supported efforts by startup champions in the countryside, including startup weekends in Cebu and the upcoming startup weekend in Visayas that will actually hope to gather budding entrepreneurs in the areas of Bacolod, Iloilo, and other parts of the Visayas region. This is made possible by our gracious hosts and organizers, TechTalks.ph, led of course by Tina, and the respective local ICT councils that unify efforts in their locality to further promote ICT and its benefits. By the way, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of the President of the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines, Ms. Whitol Gansa over there. We couldn't have done our work of bringing jobs to the countryside without the help of the 40 plus member ICT councils. These are private sector ICT councils that we have all scattered all over the country. Thank you, NICP, for helping the government. We also partnered with the Philippine Software Industry Association in their Spring.ph initiative to mentor startups as we aim to have 5, or is it 5? Where's Joey? Internationally recognized startup companies earning at least $1 million annually by 2016, or is that 2017? We are also working with Access Health Philippines and the DOST UP Cebu Technology Business Incubator in their upcoming Social Innovation Camp, where we hope to actually see real-life solutions to real-life health problems we have today in the country. This aims to gather and mentor teams to develop web and mobile solutions in the healthcare industry. Also ongoing is the National ICT Roadshow, which covers 10 cities in different regions all over the country as part of our Next Wave series program. Again, this is in partnership with the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines and IBPAP, the umbrella organization of all the IT BPM sectors in the country. This roadshow aims to promote the employment opportunities and career development in ICT, specifically in the areas of information technology and business process management. And beginning this year, we've actually added the e-commerce and startup dimension on this roadshow, and it's actually really getting traction. And I would like to commend Idea Space for lending us some of your startups. 2 weeks ago, we had the roadshow in Tacloban with over 7,000 kids filling up the Astrodome in Tacloban City. And we had one young, good-looking guy disrupting the event. That's Gian. Okay. We had to stop the program because everyone actually wanted to have a picture taken with your startup. Through this, we aim to spread this advocacy throughout the country and really push for innovation and development in the different provinces as well. As we align with the Philippine Development Plan in promoting e-commerce and ICT innovation as a means for economic development, we believe that this initiative does not only foster production of products and services that uplift the economy, but also serves as a venue for Filipino ingenuity and culture to be known throughout the world. With this, we look forward to working with you in the strengthening of this startup movement. May we all learn tremendously from this incredible gathering of knowledge and people and best practices. Let us congratulate ourselves for today marks a milestone in the Philippine startup community. Please enjoy the event and thank you for sharing this new achievement with us. Maraming salamat at mabuhay. On a personal note, I really would like to thank Tina for making this possible. It's happening, and Tina. So it's going to be a very challenging job for the speakers because we're actually going to be competing with all the beaches. So I hope with the speech of Doy and this speech, all the serious stuff, we're done with the serious stuff, and it's going to be fun from here on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mon. We'll stay on stage. If Doy Vea could come up, we'd like to present certificates of appreciation for their hard work and commitment. Obviously, Smart Bro, Idea Space, as well as Smart DevNet helped co-present this. And DOST ICTO was one of our co-facilitators and co-organizers. So without further ado, Tina Amper will present the certificates. Thank you, gentlemen. Alrighty. I think those were some great and inspiring messages from both founders, and it looks like everyone's still here, so I think you succeeded in keeping the audience's attention. We have a little networking time right now.
Yeah, as Sir Mon said, now for the fun stuff.
That's right, the fun stuff.
Okay, let's do this. Everybody up on your feet.
On your feet.
Come on.
All right. What are we doing?
What are we doing? I want you to look around. Whoa. I want you to look around and look for a geek that you haven't met on another table.
A geek
Okay,
you
look
haven't
around.
met at another table.
Spot them, make eye-to-eye contact, and then approach them.
Okay, go.
Find a partner.
Find a geek.
Find a partner. Come on.
Leave
Find
your
a partner.
table. I know, it's challenging.
Okay, if you found a partner,
Hi.
freeze. Oh my gosh, you lost it.
Okay, so if you can still hear us, once you found your partner, we're calling this geek speed dating.
I repeat, geek speed dating, and you guys just got it. You're already doing it. So
Go.
whatever you're doing, continue doing it. Introduce yourself, say something to that person, speak.
Tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
set up a coffee meeting with Tina later. And then feel free to get some refreshments once you're done. There's coffee, hot beverages, ice water, things like that all over here on your left, my right.
After 1 minute, I encourage you to go meet another geek. Repeat the process.
That's right.
Have some coffee. 15 minutes, guys.
There's a time for love and a time for healing. You can't go back and undo what's been done. The word of mouth, time is revealing just how far we've let this kingdom come. Hand in hand, we're finding a way. And today is just tomorrow's yesterday. Someone died for you.
All right, it's been 2 minutes. Go find another geek and do the same. Come on, guys, meet as many geeks as you can. If somebody's standing, looking around, not talking to anybody, and you're doing the same, go approach them.
A kiss of life in the hand of fate. A boy grows up into his father's son, and he learns to love. He's been taught to hate, to carry on the way it has been done. All our lives.
Once you've met a few geeks, you may now go back to settle down, and we will begin our first panel discussion shortly. So if you've already met a few geeks, you may now go back to your seats and settle down, and we will begin our first panel discussion shortly. Thank you very much.
And now you see the light. You stand up for your rights. Ja. Get up, stand up. Ja, ja. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Life is your right. Get up, stand up. So we can't give up the fight. Stand up for your rights. Lord, Lord. Get up, stand up. Keep us traveling on. Don't give up the fight. Yeah.
We're sick and tired of your ism, schism, game, dine and go to heaven in Jesus' name, Lord. We know and we understand. Almighty God is a living man. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So now we see the light. We gonna stand up for our rights. So you better get up, stand up.
In the morning.
Give it up,
Stand up for your rights.
stand up right now.
Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Don't give it up, don't give it up.
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up.
Stand up for your rights.
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up.
All right, geeks, time to cut short our networking teaser and geek speed dating. We will be starting our panel discussion. Our speakers and panel are ready, so we'd like to request everybody to go back to their seats. I'm sure everybody is excited for our first panel.
Don't you judge.
All right, geeks, let's head back to our seats.
Don't you judge.
We will continue this after our first panel discussion.
My short temper.
We have 2 days here in Boracay.
Show you just the way
We will meet as many geeks as you want.
time to vandalize. To prove my pain's for real. Oh, push to the right of this land. Forced to call myself American. I got no shame in playing this meaningless hooligan game. So don't you judge. Oh no, no, no. Don't you judge my short.
Once again, I'd like to request everybody to head back to their seats. We will now be starting our first panel discussion.
And all the pleasures they offer. Lost all my vision. Where has the fire gone? Lost in the mud of oppression. Have been nothing to show
All right,
for
Dave,
my
before we start our first panel
living
discussion,
the right direction.
I'd like to ask everybody's attention.
Everyone's attention, please.
So let's try it. Attention!
No, there's still people
did.
chit-chatting. Don't worry, there's plenty of time for networking. We also have a beach, so you can network in your swimsuit, which I highly recommend. You know, if you really want to see the true colors of a founder and a geek, wait till you get them on the beach. Especially guys like me who are white and we don't see a lot of sunshine. We have a blinding effect, you know, the white skin.
All right, before we go to our first panel discussion, I'd like to announce a special contest. Actually, these are 2 contests that we are having right now. So the first one is if you took photos of your journey to go up, so if you had like a photo of you in the plane with all the,
Or on your boat while it was like,
yeah,
bouncing.
or if you waded through floods and then you took a selfie, you should post that in Instagram with hashtag GoUp, and Lenovo will take a look at that, and the best, well, they will decide who the best is, but the best journey to GoUp will win a Lenovo phone.
wow.
Whoa. A Lenovo phone.
Wow.
Wow, just for a selfie, and then a Lenovo phone.
Selfie, you get a phone.
Wow, with interesting journey to GoUp.
This is the #1 way you know you're at a geek contest. We don't have to explain a hashtag, and you know what a selfie is.
All right, next one. and the best selfie of somebody watching the Rappler live stream right now at rappler.com.
Rappler.com.
So if you're watching the live stream, well, you may not be here, but if you're watching the live stream, and look at the camera, if you're watching the live stream in rappler.com, take a selfie of you watching. Make sure you can catch the rappler.com website. Post it also with the hashtag GoAb, and you will win a prize as well if you get chosen. The best photo
Awesome.
by Rappler. So I guess enough with the contest, and let's head to our first panel discussion.
Yes. So our first panel discussion is very exciting. We have a panel speaker. His name is Bowei Gai. He's been traveling the world. He's been to 29 countries, and he's been producing the World Startup Report. He's a serial entrepreneur from Silicon Valley who sold the company that he co-founded, Card Munch, to LinkedIn in 2011. On New Year's Eve of 2013, he boarded his first flight for a 9-month-long journey across 29 countries and 36 cities to research the world's startup ecosystem. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Bowei. Put your hands together.
Thank you, Dave and Albert. Hello, all geeks. Hello. Glad to be here. Glad to make it here in one piece. Thank you, Tina, for helping with everything. Thank you, team. Today, we're going to have an awesome discussion on Asia. And but before you do so, I just want to have just a quick recap why we're even talking about Asia. But first, hello, my name is Bowei Gai. I'm the founder of the World Startup Report. And I wish this remote will work a little bit better. Oh, there we go. Back, there we go. With the help of a few organizations and folks like Dave McClure and Brad Fell, I was able to put together a trip across 29 countries and 36 cities in the last 9 months. Thank you. And I've been speaking to entrepreneurs, investors, journalists, government people to really understand what's it like to be in every one of these ecosystems. How do you go start a company in Nepal? What's it like to be in Brazil? What about Philippines? Tell me about all these places. Tell me about the startups that are successful. Tell me the biggest challenges. And I've heard over, I guess, 6,000 stories talking with entrepreneurs. I've given about 60 talks in every single place and just countless good memories. But one thing you'll notice is that there are quite a few of these countries are in Asia. Actually, almost half of them are in Asia. So why Asia? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It is huge. More than half the planet actually lives on this continent. The two of the biggest population, China and India, are all in Asia, and two of the biggest economies, China and Japan, are also in Asia. But it's still going to grow. You know why? Because if you actually take a look at the combined GDP of all the countries in Asia, you would think that it should be really, really big, but it's only half of the comparables in North America and Europe. Asia is only half of the other two continents, despite having the biggest economies and despite having half the people in the world. So there are a lot of growth left. But it's also diverse. We have the biggest economies in the world. We also have the smallest economies. We have countries with 5,000 years of history like China. You also have countries like Myanmar, which only started a couple of years ago with a new government. So there are a wide host of opportunities. And there's one special place within Asia that is like a special part of my heart. It's the Southeast Asia, this tiny little group of islands that nobody really talk about. So what about Southeast Asia? If I had to sum up one word, it's Southeast Asia is, come on, next slide please. It's a little bit different. You guys are a little bit different. And how is it different? Like I tried to compare Southeast Asia with all the other continents I met like around this trip. So next slide. So Southeast Asia versus America. If I had to sum up with one word, it is competition. there's such a very, very little competition in this region of the world. If you try to launch a startup in Silicon Valley, my God, there's going to be 20 other companies doing the exact same thing. But if you're here, the chances are you're going to be one of the, couple of startups that are trying to do something. So it's a lot easier to build a company here than it is to do so in Silicon Valley. Next, Southeast Asia versus Europe. Guess what? This area of the town actually has growth left. Sorry to my European friends. They're okay. They have a lot of money anyway. But this area is a place that has a massive amount of growth. Next one, Southeast Asia versus South America. Everybody talks about South America. Is Brazil the next great place to start a company? Well, guess what? This tiny group of island is actually, next slide, bigger. So this tiny group of island is about 600 million people versus the entire South America, despite having larger landmass, there are only 400 million people. And the next slide. If we're comparing to Africa, Africa is huge. It's one of the largest continents. And but the key is infrastructure. This place actually has the infrastructure to allow startups to grow. This is at the cusp of a growing continent. This is the place where a lot of billion-dollar companies are going to form in the next couple of years. So this is the difference. And the last continent, like the Oceania, actually just Australia. So what's the difference between Southeast Asia and Australia? The only word I can find is actually kangaroo. Sorry, Southeast Asia, you guys lost it on that one. Australia definitely heavy beat. They have a lot of kangaroos. So to win, all you guys need to do is go have a lunch with Tina and ask her to import some kangaroos. And once we import some kangaroos, we're done. This place is going to be happening. And all this makes me a very happy entrepreneur. So the size, the infrastructure, the low competition, and the growth, despite the lack of kangaroos, I think this is a place where we'll see a lot of interesting things happening. But is it really the case? How's the startup ecosystem here? Are there really that little competition? Is it really easy to start a company? This is what we're going to find out today. So I would like to invite up Jojo from the Plug and Play Center, the co-founder of the largest co-working space in the world. He's going to help us to host a panel discussion on Asia and what's Asia all about. So everybody, please give a welcoming hand to Jojo. Tina, I'm pretty serious about the kangaroos. Tomorrow.
Thanks, Bowei. Don't you just love it? We can wear slippers. In Boracay, huh? Try doing that Geeks on a plane thing with slippers. Freeze to death.
So
what do we do?
well, we'll introduce you first and you can be seated.
I guess you'll introduce the
Yeah,
others,
I'll
right?
introduce
Okay,
you and then
so let me sit
please
down
sit.
first.
Thank you. All right, let me introduce Jojo formally. His name is Jojo Flores. He is the co-founder and VP of Operations at Plug and Play Tech Center, Silicon Valley. It's a Silicon Valley tech-based tech startup accelerator, which he started in January of 2006 and built a community of 300 plus tech startups, 500 plus angel investors, over 170 VC investors, over 100 large tech corporations and service partners, over 50 domestic and international universities, and numerous experts in various technology fields. Since inception, Plug and Play startups have been able to raise in excess of $750 million. Jojo currently serves as a board member and VP for international operations at American Liquid Packaging Systems, ALPS, where he successfully started and co-founded 12 companies in over 30 cities in Europe and Asia. Sir Jojo Flores, our first panel speaker. Round of applause, please.
Our second panel guest is Khailee Ng. He's a venture partner at 500 Startups, which is a Silicon Valley-based global seed fund and startup accelerator. They oversee a 10 million micro fund to invest in the next generation of Southeast Asia's most promising startups. He's also the co-founder of 2 successful startups himself, GroupsMore, a company that was acquired by Groupon, and Says.com, which was acquired by Catch Group. So Khailee, please come up. Let's give him a round of applause.
Next up, we have Casey Lau from SoftLayer Startups HK. Casey Lau, co-founder of Startups HK or Startups Hong Kong, and Community Development Manager Asia Pacific for SoftLayer, an IBM company. SoftLayer Catalyst was created to help startups supercharge their businesses within a 12-month virtual incubator program that offers free best-in-class hosting, mentoring, and marketing support. Casey manages the Asia Pacific region and frequently travels to all Asian startup hubs to help accelerate startups with mentoring, networking, and sharing from 10 years of personal experience in the space and with SoftLayer's widespread connections, its technical acumen, and access to mentors from around the world. I got to meet Casey yesterday, and he said he's never really been to the Philippines. It's his first time here, and it's because he loves us and he loves Boracay. All right, let's welcome Casey Lau. Check, check, check.
All right, next up is Paul Santos. He's the co-founder and managing partner of Wavemaker Labs. Paul is an experienced entrepreneur and early-stage investor. He's co-founded 6 companies across different industries and exited twice. He's currently leading the Asian office of an early-stage cross-border venture capital fund and its affiliated incubator. Both invest in startups in e-commerce, mobile, SaaS, and advertising technology that target the US, Southeast Asia, India, and China markets. Paul, please come on up. Let's give him a round of applause.
All right, and last but not the least, we have from Amazon Web Services, we have Franco Eisma. Franco Eisma is responsible, wait. Thank you so much. Franco Eisma is responsible for Amazon sales, channels, and marketing activities in the Philippines. He engages with various organizations locally and in the region, from technology startups to MNCs, helping them drive innovation and build IT-based services using the cloud. Franco has a background in product development, engineering design, and technology innovation. With over 12 years of experience in the tech industry, his expertise covers IT infrastructure, network, communication, automation, cloud computing, and sales management. He has a Master of Science degree from the National University of Singapore and is an electrical engineer by training. He lives in Singapore and spends time hiking, reading, while babysitting, and traveling to hidden gems in Asia. So without further ado, Franco Eisma. Music! Franco?
He may not be here.
All right. So,
The panel will go on.
all right. What's the topic? The topic is the world startup ecosystem, and it's distinguishing the Asian experience.
Yeah, great. I was with Franco on the plane, and he did warn me that Boracay could be a very challenging place to go to, and he may not be able to make the panel this morning. So he's very true to his word. So we'll catch Franco later. Anyway, I was instructed to allow you guys to do some opening remarks. So you already did mine, maybe Khailee?
Opening remarks on
Yeah.
the spot. Well, check. Okay. I just part of 3 months ago when I decided to take on the venture partner role for 500 startups to help make investments in Southeast Asia, I knew that it was going to be a bit of a challenge to learn up the markets at a fast pace as Bowei has, right? I had to travel to each of these places to try to get to know this deep as I can. So for the Philippines, I'd have to say I'm at the start of my journey to learning more about what you guys are doing and what the challenges and the opportunities are over here, who are the startups to look at. So I want to say that today and tomorrow is going to be a learning experience for me, and I look forward to chatting with each and every one of you and learn as much as I can. So I'm very happy to be here, and thanks everyone for inviting me here.
I'm wearing 2 hats today. I'm wearing one for Startups HK, which I run the community in Hong Kong for startups, and I'm wearing a hat for SoftLayer. I'm looking for startups here in the Philippines. I guess I'm in an unusual position because I helped grow the startup scene in Hong Kong for 3 years ago, where there were 6 guys sitting at coffee shops just talking about startups. We used to call it an Alcoholics Anonymous for founders, right? Hi, I'm in a startup. This is my startup, right? And it's grown. We have 5,000 people in Hong Kong now that are part of this community, which I'm sure is being able to grow here as well. And then with SoftLayer, I'm allowed to travel around, they allow me to travel around the region, Asia Pacific, to drop into different ecosystems here and see what everybody's doing. So I'm sorry, this is my first trip to the Philippines, but I've been to everywhere from Beijing, Tokyo, Singapore, everywhere to see what's going on. And just from talking to people this morning and yesterday, I found that this place will be, the Philippines will be a very good place for growth. As Bowei's already mentioned, Southeast Asia is huge. Hong Kong, we're kind of in the middle. So we're not really Southeast Asia, we're not really China. But I think it's a very exciting space right now from what I'm seeing. I just got back from TechCrunch Disrupt in San Francisco, and I got to say, we have a very good shot at being, the big next thing here. So everybody keep going, keep doing what they're doing.
So, hi, I'm Paul. I grew up in the Philippines. I've been living in Singapore for the last 7 years. Most of the companies I've started are mostly here and exited here. And I moved to Singapore because my wife said we needed to move to Singapore. So I'm part of a venture fund also in the States called Seymour Ventures. My partner there, one of my partners there, his name is Eric Manlunas, who's also Filipino. And he's based in LA. And so we're investing mostly outside, frankly. Wavemaker invests only in Singapore companies because we co-invest with the Singapore government. But Singapore being so small, the markets that the startups eventually target, the Philippines is always one of the markets that the startups look at. So we're here, we're here to support whatever efforts we have to build the ecosystem here in the Philippines. And so I'm very happy to be here and happy to learn more about what's up, and hopefully we can do our part to make it as vibrant as we can. That's it.
Thanks, guys. Now, in terms of structure, we also have like 10 minutes at the end of the panel for Q&A. So someone has to tell us to shut up already.
No, Jojo, what we'll do is while you just go on discussing, we'll post here that they can ask questions via Twitter with #GoAb. And then we'll look over the questions. If we find some interesting ones, we will maybe butt in and then ask you to answer that question. So it'll be more lively. You have the whole time.
Sounds great. The whole time?
Yes, you have the whole time. But we'll butt in if we have questions.
So someone wake up Franco then.
We'll try.
Okay, so we heard Bowei do the, give it a little summary of his report on distinguishing the Asian situation versus the other parts of the world. What's your take on that? Let me ask that obvious question. What do you see any other distinguishing factors or elements that distinguish Asia to the other startups around the world?
Okay, so let me take a crack at that. So what Bowei painted earlier was true. I'm a believer in what I'll call the Southeast Asian opportunity. So it's best to plant on fertile ground. And what the picture he painted is that I really believe Southeast Asia is fertile ground. Now, the kinds of companies or startups that you should be building in this part of the world, I think that's something we need to start thinking hard about. Meaning, we read a lot of TechCrunch and whatever, and you see a lot of these startups in the US, and it's fine. You'd like to get ideas from there. But I think what can be really different is the markets here are very different from the US market. You have a lot of what I'll call emerging market opportunities. You have a lot of inefficiency. You have a lot of people who are unbanked. You have a different market that you're targeting. So for me, that's what Southeast Asia represents. It represents an opportunity to innovate, to tackle markets that are here. And I think that's the challenge I'd like to put forward to entrepreneurs is, what do you see here in the region, right? So in the Philippines, we often look at the US. You know, what about our friends in Indonesia? What about our friends in Thailand? What about our friends in Vietnam? Is there something we can do around the region? So for me, that's a difference in sort of perspective that you can have as an entrepreneur here versus probably an entrepreneur in the States.
I think there's one aspect to the difference of Southeast Asia of the world relating to founders yourselves on what ourselves as our personal culture as founders, which is very different. There was this one conversation with Serkan Toto, who used to cover the international beat for TechCrunch, where he was making a kind of paraphrasing him a little bit, kind of like a bold statement that if you're going to compete globally, the Chinese and the Germans are the most aggressive, and West Coast are the most innovative, and Southeast Asia is going to have a huge challenge in the global world because we're not that aggressive and we're not as innovative comparatively, according to his thing. And I asked him, I said, I mean, that's a really kind of sweeping statement to make. You know, let me hear a little bit about why you make such a statement. Now, he was saying that when he traveled around and talked to people, it's about the priorities in their lives. In general, the employees of a company in, say, Malaysia, where I grew up, and that's where I was from, you prioritize family, friends. You might not want to work 24 hours a day. You might want to sacrifice a lot of different things in your lifestyle, all because for work. Whereas when I was in, say, China Accelerator, walking into an incubator, I see 30% of people asleep at their desks. And I asked the tour guide, I said, well, why are they asleep? And they said, oh, they've been here for a whole week. And that's an incubator, man. What? Is there a whip behind the cupboard? So reeling that back to my own personal experience when I was building a group buying startup in Malaysia, when we were having conversations with European counterparts in Groupon, back then Groupon International was run by Rocket Internet. So the kind of playbook that we were given to download was a more aggressive one. And it's a bit of a culture shock. The boldness, the aggressiveness, the speed of decision making, it's just really bold, it's really aggressive. And also the style of communication, it's very different. But we embrace that. And so my kind of insight is, if any of you running a company and with you and your employees, if you can maintain your holistic lifestyle and care about your colleagues and care about your families and still sustain your lifestyle, but get more aggressive, get more bold, make decisions faster, take things more obsessively and seriously, I think you're not only going to get an edge over your local competitors, you're also going to get an edge over your global competitors.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think in Hong Kong and China, it seems the Chinese mentality is a bit more aggressive than maybe in Southeast Asia. Definitely the Chinese the mainland Chinese are crazy. They're super aggressive, like sleeping at their desks. You probably know they go out and the Groupon clones out there go out there and attack people in public with deals. They don't actually just wait for you to come to their website. So it's very, very aggressive there. But I think in Hong Kong, at least, the types of startups there, I think they go and look for the opportunities in the markets and develop around there, which I think is very, very good. People used to read TechCrunch a lot in Hong Kong, and wow, look at all these cool things that are going on in the States, but they don't translate here. You know, we don't need all these crazy GPS check-in drones and stuff like that here yet. You know, in the Philippines, there's a lot of things here that you probably need to start working on first and before you get to the fancy stuff, right? Even just basic e-commerce in Hong Kong is taking off, which is crazy, right? E-commerce. I did e-commerce 10 years ago, and that was the big thing. It's coming back. It's very, very important without, being too geeky, actually, is what I think. Don't be too geeky about it. Look for those markets that have potential traction for your startup and go after that first.
Any other thoughts?
The one thing that really strikes me is this thing I like to call is the Big Brother effect. So in most of the these continents, like in Europe, most of the countries are more or less the same. Like in U.S., it's just U.S. and Mexico, too small to really matter, and South America and Africa as well. Whereas if you come to Asia, there are big economies like China and Japan and then Korea, for example. Like these are the big economies that have made it, and they're making lots and lots of money. And then you look at Southeast Asia, and if you look at places like India and whatnot, they're so poor in comparison. now you see this big brother effect because these smaller brothers can look up to the bigger brothers and say, I want to be as good as you. We're not that much different. I want to be as good as you. So you give them this little drive. And also, aside from the drive, you also get the support from the big brother because those big brother will actually look at you and say, oh, this is a place for growth. So these companies from China, from Japan, and like Korea, and like places will actually come and invest in these little areas. So if this giant diversity, I think that is going to really help this region to grow. Whereas like in other places, it's more or less homogenous. So I think this is another big factor that you should consider about Asia.
For our entrepreneurs here in the Philippines, do you have any suggestion? Like, what space would you like to see them develop in terms of products?
I want to build on Casey's point just now on there's no need to be over innovative when you've got so much low hanging fruit opportunities all around you. Simple processes like what Payroll Hero, one of the early 500 startups investments here in the Philippines, things that they solve. These are everyday problems which enterprises face. Apart from enterprise problems, consumers themselves, there's a lot of fundamental things which what you can call Web 1.0 business models even, which are not executed well in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, Redmart is from Singapore. They just do the grocery delivery. I mean, I think every country has a grow, but they do it better. And now they've got a lot of funding, and they're going to start expanding around the region. I think they're going to Malaysia, they're going to Hong Kong. These are big markets they see. And think about it, grocery delivery, right?
There's a conference which 500 organizes in the Valley every year called the Unsexy Conference, because we celebrate the power of unsexy business models. They make a lot of money. They don't sound like the whiz-majig, new technology, blow your brains kind of thing, but they do things like grocery delivery or email deliverability, right? SendGrid is huge, right? It's all these companies doing unsexy things. So I think apart from the sexier opportunities, Southeast Asians, Filipino founders should also look at the unsexy stuff because there's money there.
Yeah. For example, we funded a Filipino who's based now in Singapore, and he's targeting migrant workers. So first Filipino migrant workers, but there are several migrant workers from a lot of these economies in Southeast Asia. And what are sort of very clear signs that there are problems for migrant workers? So, for example, my son has a nanny, a yaya in Singapore, and she tells me that on their one day off during the week on a Sunday, some of the yayas have to end up spending about 4 hours sort of fixing their remittances and whatnot in Lucky Plaza in Singapore. That's 4 hours. That's half their day off. So for me, that's a real problem, right? So there's another company we've invested in called A-Commerce, which is trying to do logistics, the last mile logistics. That's a big problem. But the guys who are going after it are experienced operators around the region, and they're trying to see, can they take care of the last mile delivery, the warehousing, the customer service, so that e-commerce companies can just plug into them and they can take care of the rest for Southeast Asia. That's just Southeast Asia. So I certainly agree with these guys, and that's why I was also making the point earlier. There are a lot of very sort of big and clear opportunities that are very regional or even very local that I would encourage the entrepreneurs to look at.
Sir Paul, excuse me. There's a question from Twitter. Is the government of Singapore, because you're from Singapore, the government of Singapore, are they okay with, are they looking into funding startups outside of Singapore?
So what usually happens is, so the straight answer is no, it has to be a Singaporean company. What usually happens is some of these startups, as they bubble up, they want to go after the region, and Singapore seems to be a good hub for the region from an investor, IP protection, etc. standpoint. And so they would incorporate there, and we help them through the process and eventually fund them there.
I just want to quickly follow up on that and what Khailee said. Does everybody know who Elon Musk is in the room? Everybody must hear if you're all geeks, right? I say to tell startups all the time, stop idolizing Mark Zuckerberg and idolize Elon Musk. The guy did PayPal, and then now he's making spaceships and electric cars, right? So go make your money in the unsexy space, and then go do the dream stuff later. You're all very young. You have lots of time.
So, are you guys saying it's not important right now for us to have a global strategy for startups? See, because if you're from Silicon Valley, they say, VCs always look for a global strategy, because, yeah, you'll be successful in the U.S., but you gotta have a plan for your expansion in Europe and in Asia. You know, for our startups here in Asia, then is it what is your suggestion?
Well, I think it depends on the nature of the business that you're tackling. 'Cause launching, for example, a mobile app. I'll just give you an example. Say Bilk in Thailand. They were at first serving the local Thai market with a software for contractors and builders, right? So it's kind of like a B2B kind of thing. But their new app is for if you're a homeowner and you're renovating your house, you want to use an interface to manage your contractor who's building it. That's a consumer play. Now they've got to do it globally. So they're going to the 500 Startups Accelerator in Silicon Valley to help launch that globally. So same business, but at two different phases and two different products of their business. One has a very healthy local focus, and one, from day one, they got to think globally on how do you get as many users on that consumer app at the same time. So I think that's one layer of nuance. And there's also another layer of nuance to understand that, to give an answer to that, is that sometimes if you just dominate local, you can build a pretty big company. And depends on how large you dream. If you're happy with a $10 million exit or a $30 million exit, $5 million US dollar exit, go ahead, just build it locally, flip it, sell it, do what you want.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and there's no harm in that. In fact, I think there should be more of that, just to build the earlier pieces of this, the Southeast Asia.
Yeah, look at Vicky in Singapore, right? They just got sold for 200 million to Rakuten, right? That's a completely Asia play, right? It's that site. It's a subtitled site for dramas, so people can go there and crowdsource subtitling for video, so you can watch like Korean dramas in like 150 languages. And Rakuten went and bought it out for 200 million because they see a future there for their e-commerce platform, right? So that's completely Asian. I love that story. I think it's really exciting.
That's an interesting story, not only because there's an Asian root to it, but it's also inherently very global. Because they got the Korean fans to translate that, but their audiences are from all around the world. You can watch the latest Korean drama in Polish, or if you're Bulgaria, you're there subtitling something from
Who knew there were
Bulgaria.
fans there of Korean dramas?
Oh, there's tons. Those Bulgarian K-pop fans.
Yeah, actually, there's two other ways to look at that. So I think the way you defined it earlier, what's the opportunity? So crystallize it, right? So I'll give you an example. Bowei's saying about big brothers coming to Southeast Asia. There are a lot of Japanese investors who are interested in Southeast Asia. If you're familiar with the Japanese demographics, I think like 50% of the population is above 50 or something like that. And so they look at Southeast Asia as a growth market. And one market, so I've met with several Japanese VCs, and one market they're really in love with is Indonesia. And a lot of these Indonesian entrepreneurs just want to target Indonesia. Well, it's 240 million people, right? But the point there being, you can build a business that investors will want to invest in, even if it's a one-country play. And that's why, again, the clue I was sending out was, make friends with some guys in Indonesia, right? That, you talk about two countries in Southeast Asia, Indonesia and the Philippines have the two biggest populations. You have 340 million, it's a nice market. The second way to look at it, so the first is look at the opportunity. The second way to look at it is, who's going to be funding you next? So whenever you raise a funding round, you have to be able to create certain amount of proof points. And those proof points that you can create should be enough to convince the next investor to come in and help fuel the fire. And if you're going to try to go global right away, but you won't be able to generate the proof points, then it's diluted, right? You won't have enough to convince the next guy. And so in that case, you might want to narrow your focus. But if it's too narrow and you don't create enough proof points to say that the market is big enough, the next investor also won't come in. So I guess that's just a framework for you to look at. With the money that you have, what kind of proof points can you create and how wide is that so that the next investor will come?
That's a great point.
So
Yep.
in addition to what everyone said, I think there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. There are many different ways to succeed. You can succeed by building a local company serving the local market. You can building a local company serving the global market. The thing I would like to focus on around the world is actually this thing called unfair competitive advantage. So I think there's a saying in Chinese, like the phoenix in the sky cannot compete with a snake on the ground. Like it's unsexy to be a local person on the ground, but you have a lot of unfair competitive advantage. the people on the ground who really knows how to deliver logistics, they can beat a company like Amazon and try to enter into India. So like, what is your competitive advantage? Do you know the governments? Do you have connection to the manufacturers? Do you actually understand the people on a different level? What do they need? What do they want? Do you understand the website design? Like, what is it that you understand, that you know or you have that nobody else in the world has? And focus on that. And it doesn't matter if it's local or global. Just focus on your unfair competitive advantage, and I think you will succeed.
All right, we have a question, and I'll kind of link two questions together. So the first is, isn't there too much emphasis going into attacking the global market? What's wrong with targeting Southeast Asia region exclusively? So is there too much emphasis on looking global too quickly? And what's wrong with just targeting Southeast Asia? And then the second is, what startups do you guys see, or what spaces or ideas do you see happening in Southeast Asia that are opportunistic right now?
I think we answered number one and number two partially, but do you have any other ideas on
being very specific about which area is going to grow the fastest, grow first? In any emerging countries, there are 3 areas going to grow first. Number first is going to be e-commerce. E-commerce is always the first thing that take off. Number 2 is going to be gaming. Gaming is always going to take off because there's addictiveness, and there's like an easy way to make money in all these places. And the last one is publishing, the advertisement, like a content media. These are the 3 areas that are going to take off first in any emerging economies. And then you have the rest of things like buying apartments, Groupon, all these other things.
Great. Yeah, definitely regional. I think we've all said that. Regional is the place to be. Don't go global. It's too much. But then, the Bowei's slide about competition is the biggest stopping point for you to go outside of Asia, right? Because if you're just another, I saw like 10 of the same idea at Disrupt. I was so surprised that they're still coming up with the same ideas. And I'm like, you know what? We don't have that in Asia. Why don't you bring it over here? And then they get on a plane and come over. Then you have another competitor from the States out here, right? So I think that's the regional thing definitely is good. And I can't wait to hear your talk tomorrow about more, even though you didn't stop by Hong Kong to see me, but that's okay.
Yes, Paul?
So the quick answer to the first is there's nothing wrong with purely Southeast Asia, right? Personally, what I like to look at are I'll call them businesses, okay? So I like to look at companies that use technology to build a good business. Why? Because I think it's a little more practical for this side of the world, given the kind of investors that I'm interacting with, right? I think in Silicon Valley, you can swing for the fences. They're not too worried about revenue. You just see, engagement and this and that, and they're happy to fund that. I don't know how many of those kinds of investors are present here in Asia,
That's very true.
or Asian entrepreneurs will have access to. What I've seen people respond to is traction with respect to a business. Now, does it have to be profitable? No. But can you show a business model? Can you show that your lifetime value is much higher than your cost of acquisition? Can you show that it's repeatable? Can you show your churn is low? For me, a business that generates revenue like e-commerce, like SaaS, something mobile, whether it's gaming or whatever, those I think are attractive for this type of the world, again, from an investor standpoint. It's easier to convince the next investor to come along for the ride.
Very good. Any more questions?
There's one. What do you think about duplicating successful products or business models from, say, North America and applying them to the region?
Yeah, I have the same kind of question, because I hear feedback sometimes that, a lot of our ideas are just copycats of Western ideas. I say sometimes there's nothing wrong with that, no? I mean,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I would love Khailee answer this question.
But yeah, what do you think?
Well,
how much money you made?
I think it depends what you want out of your journey as a founder, right? If you're doing it because you want to be innovative, you want to be cool, you want to invent something that's never been done before, build that, follow your dream, right? But if you want to serve customers, you want to solve problems, you want to build a real business with real revenues, there are these proven models everywhere outside of Southeast Asia, which is proven to work. Mm-hmm. One of my earliest personal angel investments was in a company called iMoney, which is a clone of a European model called Money Supermarket, which basically if consumers are confused about which credit card offers the best rates, the best discounts, which personal loans has the best interest rate, they search on Google, they get onto a site, and then lead gen for banks, and you monetize off lead gen. I looked around Southeast Asia, what? This model doesn't exist over here? you know, and the founders who want to go for it, I mean, we've raised the first round in 3 months, the next round in the following 9 months. They've got a great team of investors and good team going on. And that's something which is, again, it's a clone. It's a clone of a proven business model in Europe that you're rolling out over here. So you can say that, oh, where's the novelty in that? Yeah, okay, maybe there's not that much novelty. But think of all the consumers who are getting the wrong personal loans and the wrong credit cards and the wrong financial products for themselves. They're sitting here waiting for you to build a business like that to help them while you're there trying to think of the creative thing so you look cool. I mean, you're ripping them off. There's a lot of problems in the Philippines which need solving. You can go and solve them.
Yeah, in Hong Kong, we just reported yesterday at startupshk.com that an app called Hotel Quickly just raised $1 million on their thing. But Hotel Quickly, if you don't know, it's basically the Asian version of Hotel Tonight. So basically, you turn it on at 2 o'clock, and you can see discounted 60% off hotels, luxury hotels. Okay? So, and they actually put this in the press release that they are doing well over the U.S. and European versions of their of the app. And they also, traction is huge, 100,000 downloads in less than 6 months. So this is something like, so even if it's a clone, but it's easy to sell people, right? You say it's like this for here. I think investors get into it easier, and also people will pick up on it faster because like, I wish Uber was here, right? It's not here. I wish this was here. Fill that niche. It's ready to go.
Yes, Paul.
Here's another way to look at it. Don't fall in love with the idea. Don't fall in love with the product, etc. For me, fall in love with the opportunity first. So if you can define the opportunity first and see the market, then figure out, is there a model out there that I can copy? Because if you start with the model and there's no market, it's useless, right? Good entrepreneur, good product, no market, market wins. So Khailee's example, people need to understand the financial stuff that they're getting into. And the problem is the consumer didn't know how to do it. So there was an opportunity first. Then he looked for the model. So for me so there's a lot of hype. Don't get sucked into the hype, right? Look at the opportunity very clearly, and if you can define it, then attack it.
I love that point about defining the opportunity, because on one hand, at first when we saw that iMoney supermarket model, we thought it was a good model, but because it's not in Southeast Asia, I was skeptical at first. I'm like, if it was that great, why isn't it already here? So I went to talk to the central bank, somebody who the former deputy governor of the central bank in Malaysia. I asked her, I said, why isn't something like this here? And she said, in Southeast Asia and also in Malaysia, the regulations are very tight. The bank regulations are tight, so you don't have many different products. But from last year onwards, the next couple of years, it naturally is going to deregulate, and you're going to have so many crazy products that banks are going to invent. You're going to be totally confused. So the opportunity, the timing is really good. So on one hand, I totally subscribe to that. Is you can see that model, but it might not necessarily apply unless the opportunity exists. So you got to qualify the opportunity, then you can clone properly.
This is all great stuff, but unfortunately, we're down to our last 2 minutes. Now, these guys will be here today and tomorrow, so I encourage you guys to pick their minds. No? It's not every day that we are in the presence of great people here. We have about a minute to wrap up, so can we have some final words and messages?
Sure. So I would like to talk to people about this like picking apple concept. This is related to what we were talking about before, because there are many ways to pick apple. Okay, you have apple tree, and there are apple all the way on top. You can jump up, or you climb on the tree, you can find the apple all the way on top, or you can stick your hand out and get the apple on the bottom of the tree. They're the same apple, more or less.
It's like the low-hanging fruit.
So there are low-hanging fruits out there, and unfortunately for places like Silicon Valley, there are no low-hanging fruits. Every opportunity is a high-hanging fruit opportunity. You had to fight for every one of them. Fortunately, in this area of the town, there are still a lot of low-hanging fruits. So you can decide what you want to do. You can go, build the next Google Glass. That's fine now, but you'll have a much easier time building something much simpler, like finding apartments or finding hotels for tonight. So it's a battle that you want to consider. You want to have an easier battle or a harder battle. So maybe it's better for you not to invent too much and then follow what other people are doing. So that would be my recommendation for people.
Thank you.
Okay, so one thing I like to tell entrepreneurs, because I get pitched a lot, right? And of course, every entrepreneur is passionate about what they're doing. And the challenge I like to put forth to them is, look, the world exists fine without your startup today. Really, right? So if your startup, doesn't progress, the world will go on. And so if you're gonna build something, make sure you're gonna make a difference to somebody. Because if it's not making a difference to somebody, it's not creating value, it might not be worth your time. And money you can make back, time you can't make back. Okay, so that's what I sort of put as a challenge for the entrepreneurs here.
Thanks, Paul.
I guess I just want to say that I think the Philippines has a good way to go forward with startups. Everybody speaks really good English here. I think that's a main thing. I see when going out and pitching investors and talking to people on a global scale. So I'm very excited about that. I'm looking forward to meeting more startups here in the next couple days.
One thing I think people don't talk about often enough, and they probably should remind themselves more about, especially in tech conferences and stuff, is, it's kind of like some stuff that my dad would say to me or something, but it's about integrity. I think a lot of, in the quest to build your startup, in the quest to get really aggressive and scale things, just being really authentic and honest and truthful and making good on your promises, these small basic things, a lot of big companies with big money, if they don't even do that as a hygiene factor, they screw a lot of people over, you create a lot of bad blood. Southeast Asia is a small place. Individual countries, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, is a small scene. Word gets around. So while you are building what you want to build and growing your companies, don't be a douchebag.
Great. So I trust you guys learned from all of that. Thank you again, Bowei, Khailee, Casey, Paul, and what's next?
Thank you, Jojo. Hold on, we'll present you guys with some certificates. Thank you all for your input. We couldn't do it without you. All right. So Miss Tina Amper, again, the AMP of Geeks on a Beach, will present the certificates to Jojo, our panel chair, Bowei Gai, our speaker, Khailee Ng from 500 Startups, Casey Lau from SoftLayer, and of course Paul Santos from Wavemaker.
Hey, great design on these, by the way. Who did the design? Very nice.
That was none other than Mark Deutsch of Happy Garaje. All right, let's give him another round of applause. Say thank you. Paul, I think we gotta scoot in. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
That was distinguishing this Asian startup scene.
All right, lunch is just around the corner. So we want to take a little bit of time before we break for lunch to thank all of the sponsors who made Geeks on a Beach possible. Co-organizer DOST ICTO. As we heard from Mon Ibrahim, they believe in startups. They're looking at the next wave of startups in the Philippines. So thank you, DOST ICTO.
Co-presenters, Smart, Smart Bro, Smart DevNet, and Idea Space. Thank you so much. Let's give them a big round of applause, guys.
Let's go ahead. There's also some great Wi-Fi, so timing of this is perfect. If you haven't been able to connect, here's the access points, the SSIDs, and the passwords. They have some lightning speeds. I saw 200 Mbps being downloaded earlier, so enjoy the Wi-Fi. And thank you, Smart.
Our platinum sponsor, Amazon Web Services.
We heard Franco made it, and it was actually our error in introducing him earlier, so Franco, apologies. We hope you did enjoy last night, though. Seriously. Our next gold sponsor is Wavemaker Labs. We just heard from Paul. Thank you, guys. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, we'll just keep reading the rest. Our silver sponsors, freelancer.ph.
Nankai Development Corporation.
Fine Upgrades.
TheGoSee.com.
Boracay Pub Crawl. That sounds fun.
SPR, Boracay Real Estate.
Our official logistics sponsor is LBC Express.
Bronze sponsors, Microsoft Philippines.
Mega World.
GT Cosmetics Manufacturing.
Island Souvenirs.
Our official accommodation partner, Airbnb.
Our organizational partners, the Philippine Software Industry Association.
National ICT Confederation of the Philippines.
UP-CebuNIT.org.
Sedfit.org.
The Game Developers Association of the Philippines.
Digital Commerce Association of the Philippines.
Brain Gain Network.
DevCon.
Stack, Silicon Valley.
UVNS.
And our supporters,
Next page.
Lenovo Mobile.
Metro Deal.
Kuyi Mobile.
Plug and Play Tech Center, Silicon Valley.
Shift.
Seed Asia.
MyNemo.
Pinoy Great Deals.
Crowdsourcing Week.
Geek Speak.
R&M Preserves.
Mali.
La Cuesta Resto Lounge.
That's La Cuacha Resto Lounge.
Oh, sorry. Lendo.
Media partners, WebGeek.
E27.
SGE.
Newsdeck Asia.
Historia.net.
Auza.net.
30 Media.
Panay News.
Davao Blogger Society.
And of course, Rappler.
Bigatin Radio.
Inopub Media.
Asian Journal Publications.
Balikbayan Magazine.
Alcordo Advertising.
And ABS-CBN.
To all our sponsors, let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you very much.
All right. So one of our sponsors, the Brain Gain Network, or BGN, is giving away t-shirts. We have the first 50 winners. I'm not going to announce all of them right now. But if you haven't registered already, you can visit their website, which is bgn.org. And you could be, they have another 50 t-shirts. You could win another t-shirt. So
where do they claim their prize?
They claim their prize outside, and Meg is actually in the back. She's waving.
Look
Hi,
over
Meg.
there.
Hi, Meg.
Hi, Meg.
Let's everyone wave. Let's everyone wave to Meg.
All right. That's you claim your t-shirt prize if you mention your name from the lovely lady Meg at the end.
All right. So I'm just gonna read quickly. We're gonna read the next, let's say, 15 winners. So John Francis Paz.
All right. Our apologies, please, if we mispronounce your name.
Yeah, seriously. That's John Francis Pasicolan.
Woohoo! J. Alfred Inting.
Lonel Labit.
Sybil Shepherd Faelden or Faelden. Faelden.
Cheer Garciano.
Johnny Aquel.
Matthias Zeitler.
Ernest Koch.
Ronil Rufo.
Eddie Ibanez.
Keith Jeremy Satintingan.
Amli Gope or Gope. No, wait. Sorry, I messed it up. Amli Vizcaino.
And Sherwin Gope.
Or Sherwin Gope.
Darlene Winonan Bulaon.
Or Bulaon. Just kidding, sorry.
Robin Gurney.
James Cruz.
Zinnia Mai Go.
Abbas Ali.
Dan Loge.
Dan Logue.
All right, we'll stop there. So if your name was called, we're going to be calling more names. If your name was called, visit Meg. She has the t-shirts out there for you. If you haven't registered already, visit bgn.org and do it now.
All right, geeks, are you hungry? Hungry or not, or hungry very much? Lunch is served. So you may now go ahead and make lunch. And by the way, we have speakers assigned to their tables. So if you'd like to speak to a speaker and join a table, it's first come, first serve basis. You just approach their table. 1, 2, 3, and you can see the list over there. So go ahead, enjoy your lunch for the next, how many minutes do we have for lunch?
We have an hour and 10 minutes for lunch.
No, we'll be back by 1 o'clock.
Okay,
we will start our next session by 1 o'clock. Thank you so much. You guys are great. See you later this afternoon.